Good evening, everyone. Good evening, friends. Welcome back to our sessions on Python 5 AI. So, it's our day 9 of the Python journey. So, we have successfully completed list category data types in the previous session. So, we'll quickly walk through the list category data types. Then, we'll start a new concept today, right? So, what is the purpose of list category data types? What is the purpose of list category data types? Come on, I want everyone to respond. Right. So list category data types help us to store multiple values of either same type or different type, right? That can be unique as well as, duplicates. So it helps us to store even duplicates as well. What are the data types that we have under list category? And the list under the list category, what are the data types that we have? Did we discuss list and tuple? Yep, good. So the data types that we have under list category data types are, you know, the first one is list, the second one is tuple, right? Then coming to list data type helps us to store multiple values of either same type or different type. Okay, that can be unique as well as duplicates. And the elements under list category data type, a list data type will be enclosed in square braces and all the elements will be separated by comma. Okay. So does list data type helps us to maintain insertion order? Yes. It helps us to maintain the insertion order. Then can we perform indexing and slicing operations on the list objects? Yes, we can perform indexing and slicing operations on list objects. Then, how can we convert other data type elements to list object? Using list function, right? We use list function to convert other data type objects to list object. Then, uh, so we have also understood a few functions: append, insert, pop, with index and pop. Remove, copy. Under copy we have discussed deep copy and shallow copy. Okay, index, count, extend, sort, reverse and update, right? So these are the some of the inbuilt functions, predefined functions that we have used on list data type objects. Then after discussing all these functions, we have also understood what is inner list or nested list. What is inner list or nested list? What is inner list? Inner list is nothing but, having a list inside a list is called inner list, right? Then we have also performed operations on the inner list like slicing and indexing operations. Then some of the predefined functions like append, insert, pop were being also executed on inner list. Done. So friends, if you're joining for the first time, just consider subscribing our channel because we have planned amazing content in the future in order to get all the notifications. So just click on the subscribe button to get all the notifications. Right. Then coming to tuple, what is the purpose of tuple data type? What is the purpose of tuple data type? What is the purpose of tuple data type? Keep going. Tuple data type helps us to store multiple values, either same type or different type. Okay. And the values can be unique as well as duplicates. We can have unique values as well as duplicate values under tuple. Then what makes the difference between list and tuple? What is the difference between list and tuple? List objects are mutable, whereas tuple objects are immutable. Right? So what is mutable and immutable? Any object, if you are able to, if you are able to change within the same address, that is called mutable. Right? But if you are not able to change the object in the same address within the memory, it is called immutable. Tuple objects are immutable in nature and list objects are mutable. Right? Yep. Then we use parentheses, we use regular braces to have all the elements of a tuple, and these elements will be comma separated. Okay, these elements will be comma separated. Then, do tuples allow to maintain the insertion order? Yes. They allow to maintain the insertion order as well as they also support, do they support item assignment? Do tuples support item assignment? Item assignment is supported or not? No, item assignment is not supported because tuples are immutable, right? So we cannot, they do not allow item assignment, but list allow item assignment because they are mutable objects. Right. So these are some of the important points that we have discussed with respect to list category data types. And friends, whoever is joining for the first time, and if you want to learn Python, so we have already completed 8 sessions, on the existing program. So just go through our YouTube channel where you'll find a playlist like Python for AI 2025. Okay. So from scratch, you can learn Python, right? Yes. Now, without further delay, let us get started and we'll start with a new topic called set category data types. Okay. The next category data types under data types topic is set category. So what is the purpose of using set category data types? Set category data types help us to have collection of data types. Okay. They are also nothing but collection data types. So the purpose of set category data types is they help us to store multiple values either of same type or different type, but the value should be only unique. So that means we cannot have duplicate in set category data types. Duplicates are not allowed. No. Okay. There are two data types under set category. One is called set and the other one is frozen set. One is called set and the other one is called frozen set. Set is a mutable and immutable object, whereas frozen set is immutable object. Isn't it? Yes. Is set mutable and immutable? Yes. Let us understand how set is mutable and immutable. But I hope you understood the purpose of set category data types. They help us to store multiple values. Either we can have same type elements or different type elements, but these elements should be unique, no duplicates. If you pass duplicates, anyways, set category data types are going to store only unique values, right? So is it clear? Shall we proceed to set data type and set category? Yep. So let us get started with the set category data types, in which we have set data type. So set is a predefined class. It's a predefined class, okay, and it is treated as set data type, okay. The purpose of using set data type is to store multiple values, okay, of same type or different type, but the values should be unique because it is part of set category, right? So a set data types help us to store the values of same type or multiple type, but the value should be unique. Then how can we keep the elements organized? Is using curly braces. We use flower braces, okay, to have all the elements in an organized fashion under set. Okay, and these elements should be comma separated. They have to be separated by comma, right? Then coming to the insertion order, set never maintains insertion order. No. Okay, because the set object elements, they can be displayed in any possibility. Okay, in whatever insertion order that we try to keep, a set will never maintain it. The main reason is it can be displayed in any of the possibility. So that is the reason, a set never maintains an insertion order. Then coming to indexing and slicing, we cannot perform indexing as well as slicing operations. Why? Because they do not maintain insertion order. If they maintain insertion order, we can perform indexing and slicing. As they do not maintain insertion order, we are unable to perform indexing and slicing. Clear? Then coming to the concept of mutable, a set object is both mutable and immutable. When it is mutable and when it is immutable. In the case of add function, set object is mutable. Set object is mutable. But in the case of item assignment, so whenever you are going to assign an item, set object becomes an immutable. Very, very, very important, you know, because majority of the questions comes from data types as part of interviews, right? So is set a mutable object or immutable object? Set belongs to both. Set is a mutable object in the case of add function. So when we use add function, that means we can change, we can add elements to the existing set. Then coming to the item assignment, set is treated as immutable object. Why? Because how can you assign an item? Impossible. They do not maintain insertion order, right? As they do not maintain insertion order, we cannot perform item assignment. No. Making sense? Yes. So this is a quick introduction for set data type, and we can create two types of set objects. They are empty set and non-empty sets. Like empty list, non-empty list. Empty tuple, non-empty tuple. Okay. In the same way, empty set and non-empty set. What is an empty set? Empty set is the one which does not contain any elements. And in simple, the size of an empty set will be 0. It is 0. There is no element inside an empty set object. But when it comes to non-empty set contains elements and the size will be obviously greater than 0. Right? So this is the overview of set data type. Okay. So we have understood all the properties and we had a clear understanding about the set data type. Now it's time to work on examples, right? So without no further delay, let's get started. I'll go back to Spider, right? So here, if you see the process of, we have the syntax for making an empty set. What is the syntax? The syntax is just go and use, set function. You just use set function to build an empty set object. Okay, empty set which where the size of the set will be 0, but non-empty set will have elements in it. So the size will obviously greater than 0. It will be greater than 0. So that is the difference. And now let us create some set objects. Okay. So here we have the examples. Right. In line number 1427, I am going to create a set object in which the elements are present inside flower braces. The elements of a set are organized inside flower braces, curly braces, and the element should be comma separated. So when I execute line number 1427, it creates a set object which will be stored in A, variable A. Let me do it. See, you see here. But one thing that you have to focus is I have all the values, all the elements that we have inside this set object for twice. I have 10 for two times, 20 for two times, 30 for two times, and 40 for two times. But can we have duplicates in a set object? No, we cannot have duplicates, friends. You see here, a set object helps us to keep only unique values. How many values did I pass to store? I just passed 8 values, but it is storing only 4. Only the unique values are accepted inside a set object. But what about list and tuple? Can we have duplicates in list and tuple? Yes. You take list data type or tuple data, in both the objects of list and tuple, we can have duplicates. Okay. Coming to set, the size of this set object is 4. And let me open it. See, do you find any index for it? No. Indexing and slicing operations are not allowed on set object. Right? As they do not maintain the insertion order, I am trying to store the elements in this fashion. But you see, did it store in the same way? They don't maintain the insertion order. Okay, so that is what we have understood in the theory part. Right? Now I'm going to print the set object A along with its type. So it just prints the set object along with, the class set. See, is it clear first of all? Because if it is clear for you, we can just proceed for the next examples. Just focus on these rules. If you are clear on all these points, so obviously, we'll be clear on the examples. The hands-on part will be easy for us. You take list and tuple objects, they allow duplicates. They maintain the insertion order. But coming to set, no. They do not, set object does not allow us to have duplicates. And moreover, it also does not maintain the insertion order. No. Clear? Good. Now you have to tell me the output for line number 1430. I'm going to store 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to store 6 elements in set object. So will it allow me to store all these 6 elements as it is? Under line number 1430, it will not allow me to store all the 6 elements. Why? Because I have Python, str data Python repeating for twice. So will set data type allow me to store duplicates? No. So out of 6, only it is going to store 5 values. Only 5 values, 5 elements. So either Python, this one or that one will be removed. It doesn't store both, right? Then will it store in the same order? Will it maintain the insertion order as it is? Again, the answer is no, because this is set. Okay, the data type that is going to be used is set. So let me go and execute. So B is the object name and the data type that was used is set. You see here, the size is just 5. And what happened to the order? Initially, it stored a bool value. Okay, a bool data has been stored. Then followed by str type. Then next to it we have float data. Then finally again str type. And finally we have int data. Right? So it is not allowing us to maintain the insertion order. That is a property of set. Good. So I'm going to print the set object along with its type. So I'll get the set object along with its type. Then what are we doing in line number 1433? Line number 1433. Set does not allow duplicates. Good. So only 5 elements without following any insertion order. Perfect. What happens if I execute line number 1433? Will it create an empty set? This is one of the important, question that generally will be asked as part of interviews. Will it create an empty set or not? Yes or no? All of my friends are going to say it as empty set. Let me execute. It is going to create, it does not create an empty set. No, no. What did it create? It created an dict object, the next data type. Okay, so don't just be no, no. The answer is no. Why? You see here, in order to create an empty set, did we use empty flower braces? No. What does the syntax say? There is only one way of creating empty set object. It is using set function. But when you try to, build an object using empty flower braces, it will not create a empty set object. The answer will be a empty dict object. Okay, just make a note of it because this is very important. So if you see here, which type is used? It is dict. What is dict type? We'll understand in the next class. Not now. Okay. So how, for better understanding, I'm going to print object A along with its type. Here I'll get, it is empty flower braces. But what type is used? It is dict. It is not set. Then how to create an empty set object? Just by using set function. Just use the set function without passing any elements inside it. Okay. So this will create an empty set object. Let me execute. Yes. Now I see a set type is used to build a empty set object. Making sense? For better understanding, I'm going to print object A along with its type. So here I have the set empty set object along with its type as set. Good. Right. Now, respond for line number 1439. What are we doing? Again, it is again the same example. I'm going to create a set object with 6 elements, but anyhow I have a duplicate, so only 5 elements will be stored. And all of them will be stored in a variable B. Here we have the set object. Now I'm going to print B. So the set will be printed as it is. The set object will be printed as it is. So tell me the output for line number 1442. 1442. In line 1442, I'm going to use, indexing concept because it is B of 0. What is B? B is a set object and I'm trying to access the element which is present at 0th index. Will line number 1442 execute? All of my friends says 10. But what is the point? What did we learn here? Can we perform indexing and slicing operations on set object? No, we cannot perform indexing and slicing because it does not maintain insertion order. So I have to get an error. Okay, I have to get an error. Set object is not subscriptable. Why? We cannot perform indexing and slicing on set objects. The main reason is because of set objects do not maintain the insertion order. 1443. What will be the output for line number 1443? I'm going to use the concept of slicing 0:4, which means 0, 1, 2, 3. So will I get 10 rosum 23.45 and Python? Sorry, this is my set, right? So will I get true 23.45 and Python? No, I'll get an error again. Why? On a set object, we cannot perform slicing operation. The same error. Type error is what we get. Set object is not subscriptable. No. 1444. Line number 1444. What am I doing in line number 1444? Again, I'll get an error. Will I get the same error? Yes. Because again, I'm trying to use, slicing. Is it the same error? Yes, it is type error again. Good. Now, let me use the same set object. Okay, B. Now, I want to update the value which is present at 0th index. If you see here in line number 1449, okay, so within the set object at index position 0, that means true, okay, I want to update it to 100. Will line number 1449 execute? 1449. 1449 will also return me an error. Why? Because when you try to update the values, this is nothing but you are trying to check whether it is mutable or not. Right? Item assignment. Set does not support item assignment, right? So when you try to execute, you'll get error again. Talking about type error, set object does not support item assignment. It was clearly mentioned here. In case of item assignment, set is an immutable object. Set belongs to immutable object. Making sense? Yes. Good. Now, I'm going to use the same set object, then printing it along with its ID, the address in the memory. So I got the set object along with its ID, the address. Now, I'm going to use add function. Okay, set belongs to a mutable object. In case of add function helps us to add the elements to the set object. So b dot add of element is the syntax. Anyways, we'll understand the add function. So just to understand, set belongs to mutable category. When we use add function, I have just used this example. Okay, so 1454 will not throw any error. It will execute. And where it will store? Within the set object. Can you tell the position? At what position will NEUT will be added to set object B? Use chart. Give me the responses. Yes, NEUT gets added to set object B. But at what position? At which position it gets added? At the last? Or here? Or here? Where? Perfect. We cannot tell the position. Why? Because it does not maintain the insertion order. Any UT can be added at any position. Right? So if I execute line number 1454, I will have any UT that is part of the set object. Here it got added for me at the last. Probably if you execute, for you at the starting, it may get added. Perfect. So just understand the points. If you are clear on the concept, you can answer any kind of question. Right? So this is the overall explanation for set. But set object like list, we have many functions that help us to work on set object. Okay, here we have some of the functions and let us start understanding one by one. The first function that we have here is add. What is the purpose of add function? Add function helps us to add the elements to the set object. Okay, so just to add elements to the set object, we use add function. The syntax is similar to append, then insert. Let us not include insert. Append, pop, we have remove and all, right? In the same way, add syntax, add function syntax is also same. It's like set object dot add function. Within the add function, we pass the element. So for that, I'm going to create a set object of two elements, 10 and 20. See, okay. So the set object has been created. Then I'm going to print the set object along with its type and ID, nothing but address within the memory. So this is my set object. The output for the type is set and this is the address. At this location, we have the set object stored. Now, can I execute line number 1465 or will it throw any error? I'm using add function and I'm trying to add str type. It is Python. Okay. To S1. S1 is a set object of size 2 elements. So tell whether line number 1465 will it execute or will it throw any error? If it executes, what will be the size? It will execute. Perfect. It will get added. But where it will get added? Can we also talk about the position? No, we cannot talk about the position. It gets added, but we cannot talk about the position. Where Python gets added under S1, right? So let me execute and see. It got added, so it did not throw me any error. So I'll have a quick review at the set object S1. So it got added Python at the starting. At the starting position itself, I have Python. Then what if I execute line number 1466? I'm going to use add function. I want to add one more element. It is Java here to the existing list. To the existing set object S1. So will line number 1466 execute? Yes, it will execute because set becomes a mutable object in the case of add function. So that means we can add elements to the existing set. Okay, to an set object, we can add elements. So let me execute line number 1466. Where it got added? It got added next to Python. You see here? Again, here if you see, it is completely changing. Okay, it will not maintain any kind of order. Okay, the insertion order will not be maintained. So let me print set S1, set object S1 along with its ID. See, size becomes 4. Good. Is it clear? So only in case of add function, set object becomes a mutable object. Make a point. It's very important. Then let us go and understand clear function. The clear function we have already understood as part of list data type, isn't it? Yes, we have understood clear function as part of list data type. What is the purpose of clear function? Clear function. Clear function helps us to remove all the elements of a set object. Okay, all the elements that are present in the set object will be removed by clear function. And here we have the syntax. So I'm going to create a set object of size 5 elements. Okay, because we have duplicate, right? So the duplicate will not be stored. Size is 5 and now I'm going to print the set object along with its ID address. Okay, so this is my set object with 5 elements and this is the address at which this set object B has been stored in the memory. Then I'm using clear function on the set object B. So what happens if I execute line number 1475? What happens if I execute line number 1475? So this is going to remove all the elements present in the set object. So all the 5 elements will be removed. Just have a look. See. You see, observe the variable explorer properly. all the five elements that we have previously, they got removed and the size became 0. So let me print it to the console. So it is an empty set object that which has returned. Okay, so at the same location we had an empty set. So that is the purpose of clear function. Clear function helps us to remove all the elements present inside a set object. Then coming to the next function, it is remove. What does the remove function does? The remove function helps us to remove an element from the set object. Clear function, it is going to remove all the elements, but remove function, depending on which element has to be removed, when we specify the element, only that specific element will be removed. Okay, only one specific element will be removed. And what if the element is not exist in the set object? Then we get a key error. Okay, the key is nothing but the element here. So here we have the syntax for remove function. It is set object dot remove of element. So within the remove function, we have to pass the element that has to be removed, and this element, if it is present, it gets removed. What if the element is not present in the set object? We'll get a key error. Let me try. So I'm going to come up with a set object, okay, where we have 5 elements. B is the set object with size 5 elements. I'm going to print B along with its ID. Now, I'm going to use remove function to remove str data. It is Rosam. Okay, can I remove, will it execute line number 1486? Because I'm just following the syntax. B is my set object dot remove function. Within the function, I'm just passing the element. I'm passing the element. So will Rosam get removed from set object B? Yes, it will be removed. Just have a look. Do you find Rosam here? No. Let me print B along with its ID. In the same ID, I don't have Rosam. It will execute. What if I want to remove Python from the same set object B? Yes, obviously it will remove because the element is present inside the set object B. I can see Python. Okay, so Python object will be removed from set object B. Okay, so let me execute line number 1489. Done. No more I see Python. Python is not there within the set object. Let me print along with its ID. So no Python. No element Python in the set object B. No, it got removed. Now, what happens if I execute line number 1492? 1492, what happens if I execute? Will it remove Rosam? Will it remove Rosam or not? No. It will throw an key error. Why? Because there is no element Rosam in the set object B. It was already removed. So when you try to execute line number 1492, as the element does not exist in the set object, it will return as a key error. See, key error is what it has returned. Now, 1493, what if I execute line number 1493. Even for line 1493, it will return the same key error. Why? Do we have 100 in the set object B? No. So if the element does not exist in the set object, it has to return key error. Key error 100. Clear? Good. Now let me go and understand discard function. What is the next function? It is discard. What is this discard function? Discard function, the purpose of discard function is to remove or discard the any element from the set object. So is it similar to remove then? Yes, it is similar to remove, but there is a small difference between remove and discard. It is if the element does not exist in the set object, okay, then we never get an error using discard function. But under remove, if the element does not exist in the set object, we get key error. Right? We have got key error. But here under the discard function, we'll never get any kind of error even though if the element is not present inside the set object. That makes the difference. Okay, so that makes the difference between, discard and remove. Right? So I'm going to create a set object with the same elements. Okay, now I'm going to print the set object along with its ID, the address, right? Then followed by I'm going to use discard function. Which element are we going to remove? We are going to remove row sum. Our father of Python. Okay, so we are going to remove row sum from the set object B. And will it execute? Yes, it will execute because I have row sum in the set object B. So it will execute and it removes row sum from the set object B. So let me print it. Yes, there is no row sum. What if I execute line number 1507? 1507. Just think, because we are using, we are using discard function. It's not remove function. Discard function on, a set object. But what are we trying to remove? I'm trying to remove row sum which is not present in the set object. Will it throw any error? Will it throw any error? No. It will not return us any kind of error, but it will execute. See, that's it. But if you use remove function in the same place, it will throw error. You'll get key error. Very important question. Under set data type, okay, in the concept of functions, what is the difference between remove and discard function? Okay, both helps us to remove the elements from the set object, but the difference that we observe is if the element is not present inside the set object, a remove function will return key error, but discard function will never return any kind of error. It will just execute. That's it. No error will be returned. Making sense? Keep going, keep going. Right. Now let us go and understand one more function. It is pop. What is the purpose of pop function that we have understood under list? Pop function helps us to remove by default the last element. The last positive indexed element will be removed from the list object. But we have pop function, okay, that can also be used on sets. On a set object, we can also use pop function, but the function of pop function is it helps us to remove any element from the set object. Okay, any element will be removed. It is not that one specific element is going to get removed. We cannot identify which element is going to be removed also. Okay, so if you call pop function on empty set object, then again we get a key error. Why? Because in an empty set object, will not have any kind of elements. So that is going to return us a key error. Okay, the syntax is again same. Set object dot pop function. I'm going to create a set object. It is B, where I have 5 elements. Here are my 5 elements. Okay, here are my 5 elements. Now I'm going to use pop function on B, set object B. So tell me which element will be removed from the set object B. Which element will be removed? Everyone has to respond. It will execute, yes. But which element will be removed? That is the question. We cannot identify. That is what it has been explained. Any arbitrary element will be removed from the set object. So let me execute. You see, it has removed true. It has removed true from the set object B. In the same way, let me use pop function again on the same object. Which element might be removed? Again, the answer is same. Any element can be removed from the object. So this time it has removed row sum. Right? Then let me do it again. It removed the float data. The float type element has been removed. Let me do it again. This time it removed Python, the str type. And finally, we have only one element. So obviously pop will remove the one element, that is int type. Okay. So we have no elements inside the set object B. On an empty set, I am trying to use pop function. So this has to return key error. See, pop from an empty set will return as a key error. So let me print B. It has to return me, empty set object. It's empty set. Good going, good going. Just give your answers, friends. If you sit silent, it doesn't work, right? So just type your answers in the comment section, in the chat window. Now, if you understood this particular example, let me try on one more example. So where I'm going to create a set object. A set object is what we are going to create. And where are we going to store it? In a variable A. Okay, how many elements are we going to have? It is 10, 8 plus 2, 10. So let me create it. Done. Let me print it. So here we have, the set object A, in which there are 10 elements. Okay, the size of the A is 10. Let me open it for understanding. You see, initially we have Java, then Python, then the int values one by one. Right. Now let me use pop function on the set object A. If I use pop function on set object A, which element is going to get removed? Which element will be removed? Will it remove Python, or will it remove Java, or any one of the int data type elements? Pop function is going to remove any arbitrary element, right? So out of all these 10 elements, one element will be removed. It is 70. It is 70. We cannot determine. Good. Then 1528. Again the same answer. Are we going to determine the element which is going to get removed? No. So let me execute. It is 40. You know, when I have executed pop function for the second time, it removed 40, element 40 from the set object. In the same way, I'm going to use pop function again. So this time it removed 10. Then one more time, it removed Python. The str type has been removed, friends. Okay, 1531, where it has removed 80. 1532, pop function is going to remove 50. Okay, any arbitrary element will be removed. Okay, why? Because it does not follow the insertion order. Because of it, there is no kind of indexing, and any element can be removed by pop function. So let me print the set object. I just had only 4 elements in set object. They are 20, Java, 60 and 30. So let me also use pop function again and again to understand how the elements are being removed. So I'm using pop function. So it has removed 20 now. So I'll have only 3 elements. I'm using pop function again. This time it removed Java and I just had only 2 elements. Using pop again, removed 60, right? And only one element. So obviously that has to be removed. It is 30. Clear? And if you use pop function on an empty set object, it will throw you an error. What kind of error? You'll get key error because there is no element to be removed from set object A. It is an empty set. I hope it's clear, right? Yep. So we have understood, 5 different functions starting from add. Then we have understood clear, remove, discard, and pop. Good. Now let us go and understand the next function. So from here onwards, we have the functions that are already familiar to us. Okay. So probably in 7th or 8th standard, we have learned the concept of sets and relations, right? So under sets and relations, we have come across all these functions. Okay. So it will be a recap session from here onwards, right? So there is a function called is disjoint. There is a function called is disjoint. What is the purpose of is disjoint function? This is disjoint function helps us to, this returns true when there is no common elements between the objects. So between two set objects, if there are no common elements, then we say that the two set objects are disjoint. Okay, so is disjoint function will return us true when there is no common elements between the set objects, and it returns false if there is at least one common element between the objects. Simple. Either it returns true or false. Okay, so when it returns true, when there is no common elements, and when it returns false, if there is at least one common element, in all the cases it returns false. Right? So here we have the syntax. Okay, the syntax says set object one dot is disjoint function. Within the is disjoint function, we are going to pass set object two. Right? Yes. Now let us work out on some of the examples. I'm going to create 3 set objects. One is S1, the next one is S2, followed by S3. How many elements do we have in S1? There are 4 elements starting from 10 till 40. 10, 20, 30 and 40. See, just have a look in the variable explorer. Okay, so if you have a look on the variable explorer, we have the set object S1, the size is 4 with the elements as 10, 20, 30 and 40. Then I want to come up with one more set object S2 with 3 elements 10, 50 and 60. Yep. Then one more set object with size 3, 3 elements minus 10, minus 20, minus 30. Done. Then printing all these set objects along with its type. So obviously the set object and the type set will be written for all the 3 set objects. Now tell me what will be the output for line number 1563. 1563. What are we doing? S1 dot is disjoint S2. So we are going to check whether set object S1 and set object S2 are these both disjoint sets or not. Are they disjoint sets? Do we have any common elements between S1 and S2? 1563. I want the answer for line number 1563. Understand and give me the output. Will it be true or false? The answer is false. Why? Between S1 and S2, there is a common element. It is 10. So, if we have common elements, is disjoint function will return false. So, that means S1 and S2 are not disjoint sets. They are not disjoint sets. So, let me execute. So, it returned me false. They are not disjoint sets. Why? There is a common element. What is a common element? It is 10. Right? In the same way, I want the response, I want the answers for line number 1564. 1564. S1 dot is disjoint function and within the parenthesis we have S3. Check carefully, do we have any common elements between S1 and S3 sets? No, there is no common element between S1 and S3. So line number 1564 has to return true. So that means S1 and S3 set objects are disjoint sets. There is no common element. Good. Keep going, keep going. Then I want the responses for line number 1566. This time, instead of storing the set, to a variable, what am I doing? I'm going to take the set as it is. I'm going to take the set object as it is and I'm going to use is disjoint function. What happens if I execute line number 1566? It returns false. Good. Why? Because there is an element in common. It is 30. So that means both the sets are not disjoint sets. They are not disjoint sets. 1567. Tell me, are these two sets disjoint or not? Will it be true or false? The output. 1567 will be true. Why? Because there is no element in common. So that means the two set objects are disjoint sets. 1568. Here we have the elements, but here we don't have the elements. Especially in 1568, in one set we have the elements, and in the other set we have only an empty set object. So what happens for 1568? It will return true. Why? There is no element in common. So this will be true. It is a empty set and this is a non-empty set. So obviously the output will be true. Good. 1596, 69. My bad. 1569. What will be the output? 1590, 69. No, it will not be false. No. Okay. Good, good, good. 1569 will be true. Still, even though if there are two empty sets, they can be created at different positions, right? So they cannot be, I hope it's clear. Even though if there are no elements, do we have any elements in common? No. If there are no elements in common, so obviously it has to return true. Making sense? Yep. So we are clear on the concept of is disjoint. Now let us understand two more functions, and they are also similar, familiar to us, like E superset and E subset. Okay, so the next functions that we are going to learn are E superset and E subset. Okay, so probably in our sets and relations topic, we have superset, subsets and all, right? So we have functions here. Superset function is subset function. Let us understand what is superset and what is subset. Right. So coming to is superset function, so this returns true provided all the elements of set object 2. All elements of set object 2 should be present in set object 1. So in the syntax, if you observe, so if set object 2 has all the elements of set object 1, then E superset will return true. What if set object 2 does not have all the elements of set object 1? It returns false. Right? So here we have the syntax. The syntax is similar to is disjoint. So just change the function. Set object 1 dot is superset of set object 2. Right? Then coming to is subset, just inverse it. Okay, it is vice versa of is superset. Right? So is subset function, it returns true provided all the elements of set object 1 are present in set object 2. Then it returns true. Otherwise, it returns false. So it only then set object 1 is a subset of set object 2, right? So only here we'll get true. But if it does not contain all elements of, the set object 1, it will be false. For better understanding, we have examples where I'm coming up with 3 sets, S1, S2 and S3. Okay. Under S1 set object, we have 5 elements, 5 values. And under S2 and S3, there are only 3 elements, 3 values. Right? So now let us start understanding E superset and E subset functions. So the first function, line number 1583. S1 dot is superset of S2. So what is S1? This is S1. Set object S1 in which we have 5 elements. What is S2? Line number 1580 is S2. So do we have all elements that are present in S1? Does S2 have all the elements present in S1? 1583. Will it return true or false? Good. The answer for 1583 will be true. Yes. In S1, what are the elements we have? 10, 20 and 30. Are these available in S1? Yes. All of them are available in S1. Okay. So in under S2, we just had only 10, 20, 30. So, but in S1, I have all of them. So S1 is superset of S2. Right? So whatever elements that we have in S2, they are present in S1. The output should be true. What about line number 1584? 1584. 1584, the output will be false. Why? Under S1, there are 5 elements. Under S3, we have 3 elements. But do we have all the elements that are present in S3 in S1? No. S1 is not superset of S3. No. I don't have 60 and 70. Right? So the output should be false. Not just typing true or false. It's better if you also explain the reason. That would be great. That would be appreciated. Right? 1585. This time I'm going to use subset function. Is subset function. S2 dot is subset of S1. S2, is it subset of S1? Do I have all the values present in S2? Is it part of S1? 1585. What will be the output? The output will be true again. Why? Because all the values that we have in S2 are present in S1. So S2 is a subset of S1. Then S3 is subset of S1. Isn't it? 1586. 1586 output. In S3 I have 3 elements and in S1 I have 5 elements. But do we have all elements that are part of S3 in S1? No. So this has to return false. It has to return false. 1587. 1587. What are we trying to do? S3 is subset of S2. The elements that we have in S3, all of them, are they present in S2? Are they present in S2? No. So it has to return false again. The elements are different. If the values of the elements are different, it will never return true. All the elements should be present. 1588. Keep going. 1588. Good, good. S1 is subset of S1. Yes, whatever the elements that we have in S1 are also present in S1, right? So S1 is subset of S1. True. 1589. Empty set is subset of empty set. 1589. The elements present in the empty set, are they same in the next empty set as well? It will be true or false. It will be true, not false. There are no elements, right? First of all, then empty set is subset of S1. Whatever the elements that we have in empty set, do we have also, is it subset of S1? No. So this has to return true. Even 1590, the output will be true. It is subset of 1590. I mean S1. Right? And finally 1591, where we have S3 is subset of S3. Yes, obviously the elements are same. So it has to return true again. Yes. Okay. So we just understood the concept of is disjoint, is superset, and is subset. Okay. All of these three functions are related to sets. Okay. Probably all of us might be aware of Venn diagrams, right? Where we have learned under sets and relations, right? So there we have used the concept of superset, subset, disjoint sets. So for in Python, we have all of them as functions. Okay, we have all of them as functions. Now, coming to the next function, it is union. What do you mean by union function? What do you mean by union function? Union function helps us to return all the elements from both the sets. Okay. It also ensures that because it is working on sets, right? So it returns only the unique values. Only the unique elements will be part of the output. Okay. So if you see here, the syntax is simple. Set object 1 dot union function. Inside union function, if you pass set object 2, okay. So the union of both the elements, it is going to take all the unique elements from both the set objects and it will be storing in the new set object. Right? So an example is given here. I'm going to come up with a set object S1 with 4 elements, then followed by a new set object. Okay. So where we have one more set object with 5 elements, right? So I'm going to use union function, right? I'm going to use union function. This union function will return all the unique elements from both the sets. S1 dot union of S2. So tell me what will be the size of S3? Line number 1599. What will be the size of my S3 object? S3 set object. Yes, only the unique values will be returned because it is a set, right? The output is again a set object, right? The output will be 7. Anyways, here we have the set S3 build and the size is 7. The numbers are from 10 till 70. All 10s, 10, 20, 30, so on till 70. Why didn't we get, 9? Why the size is not 9? Because we have two repetitions. 30 and 40 are both these elements are present in both the set objects. right? So I'm going to print S3. Here we have the set object S3. Clear? Now, in the same way, there is one more function called intersection, and the purpose of intersection is to return the common elements between the set objects. Only the common elements will be returned. Okay, like how union is going to return, it is going to return all the unique elements from both the objects, set objects. In the same way, only the common elements will be returned by intersection function. Okay, so the syntax is again similar to union. Instead of union function, just replace it with intersection function. And we have an example here. So I'm creating a set object with 4 elements, 10, 20, 30, and 40. Then one more set object with 5 elements. I'm using intersection. I'm using intersection function. So tell me what will be the output for line number S4. 1608, S4 object. We'll get only 2 elements. What are they? 30 and 40. Good. Let me print them. So here we have 30 and 40. Clear? Yes. So we have understood set category data types, the purpose of set category data types, and followed by, the types that we have under set category. It is set data type and frozen set data type. Okay. A set data type is both mutable and immutable, but frozen set data type objects are only immutable. Okay. Then coming to set data type, we have understood the purpose of set. Then we have understood what different types of set objects can be created, empty set and non-empty sets. And post understanding the hands-on, we started discussing functions that can be used on set objects, right? So we covered many functions till union and intersection. So probably in the next class, we'll continue from the next function, and we'll also understand what are frozen sets under set category data types, right? So in the next class, it will be like continuation for the set data type, and we'll also understand what are frozen set data types. And even if time permits, we'll also look at big category data types. Okay, and that will mark the end of data types concept in Python. We are going to understand the data types from scratch, where we have worked out on multiple examples for each and every data type. So what you are supposed to do is, on each and every day, you have to ensure that practice, hands-on is done. Whatever the topic that we are learning in the session, ensure that you type the code, come up with your own examples, and complete the hands-on the same day, at least on the following day before you attend the next session, right? Yes. So friends, if you have enjoyed the session and if you feel the session went well, just hit on the like button before you leave, and also do share across your connections, ask your friends, your relatives to join the sessions and learn Python. And if you have any kind of questions, or if you are having any kind of if you are getting any errors, do post them in the comment section. We'll respond immediately, right? So the feedback link has been provided. Ensure that everyone provides your feedback, because we are trying to enhance our sessions, right? So just give your valuable feedback before you leave, right? So any technical questions in today's session? Any questions? Yes, friends, any questions? Good. That's fine. Anyways, we had good day. If we want to unique and increment operation, what type we would take? If you want unique and increment option operation, what kind of increment operation, my dear friend? Unique, obviously, it should be set. Okay. So I did not actually understood your increment option. Simple. Empty list which does not contain any elements and non-empty list which contain elements. The size of non-empty list will be greater than 0 and empty list size will be 0. Right? So it was already covered, my friend. Just go and have a look at list category data types that we have covered in the previous session. Right. So anyways, thank you so much for joining and making the session beautiful. And I want the same to be done in the future as well, in the further sessions. Once again, enjoy the weekend. Have a great day. Signing off.